So let's get going with it. It looks like everybody's going to be here is here. If anybody else drops in, we can unmute them and let them get going from there. This session, as is often the case with our Friday sessions, is going to be pretty low key. I don't have that much on my agenda, and I mostly want to open it up to what you guys have question-wise, if anything. I do have a few points I wanted to launch in with, mostly with regards to a recent code drop we did earlier in the week. There were a few adjustments. There were actually a number of adjustments made in that code drop, but not all of them impact you guys directly from a visual standpoint, so they're not things that you would necessarily notice right off the bat. There are some you should be aware of, though, that are all issues related to things that are going to impact you, so I wanted to bring those up as well. I'm just going to run down a brief list here. Some of these I'm going to spend a little more time on and give a demo on the screen. Some of these I'm just going to say, just going to explain, in text. And again, feel free to jump in here. I see that Stephen, you were having some problems calling in. If you need, if you're still having issues there, let me know. Okay. To get started, though, in terms of issues, bugs that came as a result of this code drop, and again, chime in if you have any questions whatsoever, you guys. There was an issue with the monitor, which at certain times it was not displaying when shows were on the air. That should be resolved. If you're still having problems with that, please let me know. We think we narrowed down to what the issue was and took care of that one. On the DJs page, so on the site URL/DJs, there was an issue where some people were saying, hey, I have a bunch of hosts and some of them aren't showing up here even though they're added to the site. The problem we were having there was that certain people were, our page was cutting off at 10. It was like a loop. It was a mini loop that was cutting it off at 10 hosts, in this case 10 authors. And if you were added after that 10 had been cut off, you weren't appearing there. So we bumped that list up to 50 on the DJs page. So if you have 50 DJs on your site, they will all appear there. Anything above 50, you're going to have to come let us know and we can tweak it further. But we didn't find any sites that were anywhere near that. So if you have under 50 DJs, they should all now appear on the /DJs page. And again, if you're not seeing that or if you're finding that you still have people who are not showing up, please do let us know. The three things that I wanted to spend a little time on is you can now first of all customize if you want to alter the profiles of anyone within your staff. I know that this was a major concern for a lot of you guys early on, and it took us a little longer to get this implemented than I had hoped for, but we did, we do have it done. And so now any of you guys can go in and make modifications to the profiles of anybody on your site. In order to do that, all you need to do is, of course, log into the back end as you see on your screen here, navigate down to this users page, and if you are set up as an administrator, this is only going to be the case for people who are set up as admins. Any lower level of access won't have this. But if you're an administrator on your site, you'll be able to go in and edit the profile of anybody on your site. That means you can change their password. That means you can change their display name. Anything that you see here on your own screen, when you log in and review your profile, you're going to have options to edit. So this should hopefully, there were a lot of people who said, well, how am I supposed to edit my DJ's bios if they have to do it all themselves and I have to get their passwords if I want to log in? That shouldn't be an issue anymore because now you do have access to everybody's profile. So hopefully this will help make things easier on you guys then. And then when we go back. And the other main one was there was another issue where we had people who were having a problem with the fact that the DJ's page was called DJs. So I'll bring that up here. You see when you click into /DJs, not only does it have a header that says DJs, but it also goes to this URL. You can change this as well if you have a different term. Some people like to use host. Some people like to use, Tim, you were one of the people who was having this, right? Didn't you have a different term you wanted to use other than DJs?
Announcers, hosts, whatever.
Okay, got it. Well, and this should come in handy for you because to change that now, if you get into the back end and navigate into the Appearance Flavor Picker page, scroll down to the very bottom of it, there's now these two sections, DJ Label and DJ Slug. If you want to change that, you just would come in here, change this to whatever you want. Label you change to Announcers, Slug should just match up with that, and it will carry over. So if you do have to make that modification, most of you guys will be able to just stick with DJs, which is what it defaults to. But if you did want to change that up, you certainly could. just come in here and do it.
That's awesome. Thanks, Rob.
Sure. And the last thing, which you probably aren't going to want to mess around with too much, but I did want to bring to your attention, is you now can customize the footer menus as well if you wish to. Like if you needed to add something additional in down here, the way this operates is you come into the back-end appearance menus section, and you see there's this footer field. It's going to default to header because that's what you spent your time on, but there is this footer section. The way it's going to operate is, if you don't change this at all, it's going to just default with the default ones that all your sites have in place that we've created automatically that you don't have access to. But if you do need to modify this, you just come in here and we'll change this footer page, and it will automatically reflect on the front end. So basically the way it's going to do is it's going to default to the hard-coded ones that we added in, but if you do need to make modifications, you should come in here and do that and make those in this page. Really, though, the biggest ones as I saw them, they're the biggest one as I saw it was that editing other people's profiles, because I know that a lot of you guys come to us and ask us to change things or edit profiles, and now you will be able to do that yourself without having to wait on somebody on the Rocketsville side. So hopefully that will help you out as you move forward, especially those of you who haven't launched, because I know that a lot of sites that haven't launched still the plug-in bios for the DJs, and this can centralize that to the DPD or the assistant or whoever. Were there any questions about any of that stuff?
Rob, what you're talking about here, is this where you add drop-downs? Like if you have a sports section and you wanted to put in like LSU, New Orleans Saints, Mud Bugs, is this where you add drop-downs under sports or something like that?
I can show you how to do that, actually. If you go over to the menus page, which I'm on right here, the header menu, this is where you can set up drop-downs, and I'll show you how to do that right now. It's really quite simple. Once you're in this page, and can you see my screen, Danny?
Yeah.
So once you're in this page, you see how I have like playlists has what we're playing kind of dragged in a little bit underneath it?
Right.
And I just set that up simply by dragging one, pulling it over a little bit, and I know it works when I release it's 6. That is all you have to do to set up a drop-down. When I go back to the front end of WDIG, you'll see if I hover my mouse over playlists, what we're playing appears within that. And so if I could even go another degree deeper than that, and I could, let's say I wanted to plug the VIP club in, so it was a subcategory of what we're playing for whatever reason, so that there's 3 levels of indentation here. If I save menu after making that change and go back over to the front end, then I refresh the page. Now I have that additional item in there as well. So you see, it's just a matter of how far in you drag it, and that will determine whether it's the top level, secondary level, third level, etc.
Okay.
Did that explain what you were going for? Did that help?
It helped.
Excellent. So that covers the updates that I had on in terms of new technology and new functionality. Does anybody have any questions about that before I move into the next item here, which was going to be a bit more of a walkthrough on the form thing that Jared emailed out earlier? All right, great. Billy, I've just unmuted your microphone because I see you joined, so you can feel free to join the conversation as well. Marcy, your typing is really loud. Could you mute your phone? Sorry to call you out. All right, so we got this done. When Jared sent out his email this morning, he sent around saying that one of the things we're trying to do is set it up so the feedback form, which all of you guys are going to have in your header menu, he wants this to route, in addition to going to you, to also go to an email address the Town Square has set up. And while we sent around instructions on how to do this morning, and I know at least Tim Lyon has done so far, I did want to give you guys a brief walkthrough as to how you would do this, because it's really easy and it should just take you 3 or 4 seconds. So if it's something you want to do, I'd say do it sooner rather than later. I know Jared wants everybody to get it in place. And so if you have a few minutes this afternoon, given that it's Friday, things are starting to slow down, you should definitely go ahead and make this change. So in order to do it, you would just come in here to the back end, navigate into the forms page, which is where we, of course, set up the form, the feedback form that we're using in the first place. and you're going to hit Edit Forms right here, the first option in the Forms drop-down. You're going to hover your mouse over the feedback form or whatever you called it. I think most of you did call it feedback, but if you gave it a different name, keep track of that because that's the one we're going to adjust here. You see a bunch of options appear underneath. We're going to go for the fourth one in from the right, or excuse me, from the left, notifications. I'm going to click on that. And now when you click into it, your page should look very similar to this, including having notification to administrator checked and all these options appearing. Some of the sites I've seen, they have their feedback form set up, but they don't have any notifications going through. They have both this box and this box unchecked. If you look at your feedback forms and you see what you're seeing on the screen right here, 2 minimized boxes with nothing in them, your form is not configured correctly. You should remember that at the very least, you have to have notification to administrator set up. Notification to user is a different story. That's one that you can if you want to. That essentially is telling the system to kick out a response to the person who submitted a form and say, hey, thanks for your submission, we'll be in touch shortly, or something similar. That doesn't have to happen, but administrator does have to happen because you're not going to receive it if you haven't set it up this way. You're not going to get an email saying, here's this contact form submission. So when you come into this form, if you've done it right, you'll see exactly what you're seeing. What you need to do is simply take that email address that Jared provided in the email, drop that right into this BCC field. You don't need to change anything else. You should already have email set up. You should already have an address plugged in here, etc. All you need to do is drop in that email address Jared sent over, which I think is, I don't remember the exact wording of it, but I think it's linked to do with support at Town Square Media, something with contact form submission, etc. Whatever it is, it's in the email. Just drop it into this field, then come back down and hit Save Settings. That's all you have to do, and then you're done. Once this is done, it will send the notifications that come through to both you or whatever email address you specified in this field, as well as the email that Jared set up, which we plugged in here. Nobody on their end is going to see this, so if they submit a note, it's not like they're going to get a response saying that it went to both you and to the CCC address, but it is going to feed into this broader inbox so that Town Square can keep track of what's coming through these forms. So all of you should plug it in. We're going to, going forward, starting with the launches next week, we're going to start asking people to, before their sites go live, to make sure that this is in. If we see in our final QA that it isn't in, we're going to ask you why and ask you to plug it in yourself. But otherwise, I mean, like you saw, it's really a process that you should all have no problem doing so, particularly if you've already configured this form and are already familiar with navigating around this section of the back end. Any questions about that? Is there anybody who tried it and had problems for whatever reason?
We didn't promise this.
All right, great.
John just built it on his own.
Then the only other thing that I wanted to bring up, and I don't know if Andre or Steven are called in. Looks like they aren't, so I'm just going to cover it on my end. On 2 o'clock on Monday for the DPD call that we're doing, Sun and John are going to review a style sheet that they put together with some thoughts and some feedback to keep in mind as you move forward with these sites from a stylistic perspective. So if you can attend that one, this is the 2 p.m., not the 3 p.m. on Monday. If you can attend that, it'll be of value because that will be some new information that you haven't seen yet. I'm sure we'll be covering it in future seminars down the road, but if you want to attend for the first time and hear it live, you should drop in because that's going to be one of the main focal points of that call. And then I believe it's going to be next Tuesday. We're planning on doing another of the sessions that kind of covered what we did yesterday and the day before with regards to how you can make best use of the tip sheet. Most of you guys were on the call yesterday. I think we had 80 or so people on that tip sheet call yesterday. So there was a good number of both DJs and DPDs. If for whatever reason you missed that, you didn't have a chance to watch the recording, Tuesday is going to be your best bet for catching it live, at least for the time being. You should also take note that the recording of yesterday's session should be working for all computers and all video players. We were having some problems, as many of you recall, a couple weeks back, where for whatever reason the recordings were only working with Windows Media Player 12 on Windows 7. If you didn't have that, you weren't able to watch it. But now it should be working across many browsers and all platforms. Excuse me. I'm using a Mac, and I am now able to watch them without issue. I also watch them on a PC here in the office with a different media player, that was not Windows Media Player, and it still worked as well. So if you're having any problems there, let me know. But if you download yesterday's session, you should be able to watch that regardless. You can even, I think, convert it and put it up on your iPhone if you want to watch it while commuting or something.
We can do this 1 point.
Any questions there?
Right after 1.1.
Brian, I see you raise your hand with a question. Do you still, you're unmuted. You should be able to ask that question live if you'd like. I think it's something that other people will find of value.
Oh yeah, I hope you didn't answer it already. Well, you know where the field is for the email address, like if it comes to me or even the BCC, am I able to have a comma-separated additional email address in there if it goes to someone else?
Yep. This little, if you hover your mouse over these little question mark things, it'll tell you can. And it looks like at least for the BCC you can. I suspect for the email you can as well. I mean, I think you might want to set it up as routing if you did want the send to going to a bunch of different addresses, because it looks like based on what these little help boxes say, it doesn't indicate directly that you can separate this with a comma for the email field. But for like the BCC, it definitely says you can enter a comma separated list. So for this one at least, you certainly can.
Okay. Thank you.
That's a very good question. Thank you. So what did you guys want to discuss today? Those were all the issues that I had. But, you know, Friday I like to open it up because I think we can get some good discussions out of these. We have a big enough crop of people on the line here and a good mix of those who've launched versus those who haven't that I think we can make good use of it. What's on you guys' mind?
Hey Rob, this is Billy in Amarillo.
Hey Billy.
And I had a question about, as far as using the events calendar, is there any way that we can add a, event dupe or event, post multiple days or on these days? Because otherwise we're, creating an event and then that event also takes place on the next Tuesday and the next Tuesday. And, we have to recreate the event every single time. Is there any way that we can bypass that or maybe create a base calendar with events that are static across all 5 sites, for example, and then export that and then import it into the different sites?
Not at this point, unless you were to do it at like an outside WordPress build that has a recurring event calendar functionality set up. At this point, I mean, you would have to just, that's coming down the road in the same way that cross-posting is coming, where you'll be able to write an article or a post at one site and have it feed to all the others. But right now, yeah, the events unfortunately have to be manually added one by one on each site until we get that finalized.
Okay, that's fine. So that is something that's in the works, though?
It is, yep, because we've had a lot of people bringing that up to our attention. It's the need for cross-posting, so that is definitely being worked on.
All right, thanks, Ben.
Sure.
Rob, it's Brian in Albany. I got one more question for you, and I think it's something you guys are probably going to come out with in the next wave of goodness. It's kind of on the note of what he just said. We have a lot of events that maybe I'll feature it in the DL, where when it's done, I'd like to have an expiration date on it. Is that something you guys are working on?
So are you saying like creating an event and saying start this date, end this date, and then it'll just show up until then, like kind of like if you were set up a post to only show between a certain amount of days?
Well, exactly, yeah, because let me give you an example. On New Year's Eve, we have a local law firm that offers free rides for everybody, and I thought I had a way to do it where it comes down at midnight, or middle of the night. Of course, New Year's Eve, I'm not exactly in the best state of mind to be editing a site either, but it was there all day, half the next day till I found it, or the PD emailed me.
Right. That's a good question. You may want to email Sun about that, because I know that he's been heading up those type of development requests at this point. And so while I know that we have something planned for cross-posting, I don't know if we have something that covers, and I think even for recurring events, I don't know if we have it to the extent that you just mentioned it there. But if you put that bug in his ear, I think it'll at least put it on his radar.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that'd be helpful to anybody else. I mean, I check my sites a ton all the time, but I don't want to, in that example, I didn't get to it till 2 o'clock the next day, and I don't want that to happen.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense, and I'm sure if you have the question, somebody else does too. So if you drop him a note on that, he'll be responsive, I'm sure.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Where is that?
Anybody else? Any of you guys who haven't yet gone live have any concerns or questions? There's a good number of people who launched so far, most of whom have really solid sites, actually all of whom who have really solid sites on the line here. What questions do you guys have?
And it just pulls in all the pictures onto the actual replay
YouTube thing that's not working?
Sure. Why don't you explain, because I saw your IM, but I didn't read it in depth. Why don't you explain to everybody here on the line what the issue is, and then we can work through it all together.
Okay, I grabbed the story about Elmo that they sent out, that corporate sent out last night, and I was trying to put it across all my stations. So I grabbed the code from the document and put it in as I was supposed to through the HTML tab.
Yeah.
And got my image ready, put a title on it, put my tags on it, gave it categories. Made sure at the top, in like when it says non or gallery or video, that it was clicked non. And when I hit save or like to draft, it went to a, it automatically put it in as a video. And I thought yesterday on the call, we all kind of decided that if it was a like if it was just a news funny story, that we weren't going to put it over in the video gallery. We were only going to put like music stuff over in the gallery. And it's wanting to throw in the YouTube over into the gallery. Make sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I guess what that means is that the system is automatic. The system automatically knows that if there's a video being plugged in, to treat it as a video. So there's no real way to differentiate on our end or on the system's end, rather, whether it's going to show up in that video page or not. I guess if there's a YouTube video embedded, it's automatically going to do that, which I didn't realize was the case until you just brought this up. But if I have in the past tried to turn it off after publishing, like turn it from video to none and then remove the link and publish again, and it just goes back to reverting to what it was beforehand. So I would say that you should just ignore that. It's going to populate in there automatically, and just make that one less thing you have to worry about. It's going to plug it onto that page if there's a video.
Okay. I thought maybe there might be a cheat, because if we don't maybe have the YouTube as the first line, maybe it wouldn't. Or do we have to have the YouTube, like the code, the URL from YouTube as the first line so it'll embed it?
It shouldn't have to lead with it. Do you have like this post in draft on one of your sites?
Yeah, it's across all four. I think I've actually tried to hit publish to see if I could get it to work. So you could go to any one of them. They're all sitting there.
I love that fascination. Well, maybe we need to. Now I understand that we can have like the latest. We can make the pictures bigger and then just have,
All right, I'm bringing this up, guys. I'm not just ignoring you. I'm trying to get to the page that we're on.
50 images and say more images at Flickr.com
I don't think even. I'm going to check this right now, but I don't think whether the video appears first or later on is going to impact whether it pops itself into that page. It's this Elmo goes through, right?
Right.
Yeah, as soon as somebody loads in 10 shots, all of a sudden that page.
Yeah, I should probably got it spelled wrong. Wrong title. Thank you, everybody, for your viewing pleasure.
I think it's very catchy.
Thank you, yeah. I think I got stuttered. What do you think?
Huh. It's weird that the visual editor isn't showing up.
Oh, is the code pasted into Visual?
No, I dropped it over into the HTML side.
No, I have the visual sometimes not show up sporadically like that too. Usually if I click upload insert, it'll, for some reason, and then close the upload insert window, it'll sometimes bring it back. I don't know why.
That's weird. I haven't seen this yet.
I've been getting it a few times here and there. Yeah, and if you click back to visual, it usually, that trick didn't work for you, sorry.
All right, I'll try going back to the post page, then I'll come into this. If not, Marcy, if this doesn't work here, Marcy, rather than waste everybody's time on the line, I'll follow up with you directly. But from what I know, we discussed this once before, and we I'm pretty sure figured out that it doesn't matter, but I'd have to double check that.
We can move on. I can play with it.
Yeah, let's talk about this offline on internet.
Sorry, everybody.
No, don't be sorry. It's a good question.
No, I'm sorry my Elmo post broke your blog.
Well, you should be.
Steven?
Yeah.
I haven't broken my blog with your Elmo post yet.
Okay, great.
But I will in a little bit.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Yeah, there you go.
What else is on? What else do you guys have to discuss? I know, Stephen, you had a comment about the tip sheet stuff, right?
Yep. We're going to do a tip sheet like today. We're hopefully going to try to be getting these things out sooner, especially when we bring on some full-time writers, but it's probably going to go out later tonight. Thanks to Andrea for putting out last night, and it was much better organized than mine, so applause to her. She's having problems unmuting her phone, so she is here listening. And I just wanted to say that we're also going to be doing one, in case you're worried, on Sunday. Probably a little bit shorter than normal, and we'll probably be, focused a little bit on evergreen content, or content that isn't as timely as usual. And then Monday we'll be putting out our usual one. We're still working on the frequency of these things, trying to sort of make it easy for everybody. Everybody has different needs. And I'm pretty much guaranteeing you that, in the next month or so, we're going to be going to twice daily with the updates like we were talking about yesterday. Also wanted to thank for the big show up yesterday. It was really valuable. We got lots of great questions after. And as Rob mentioned, we'll be doing another one on Tuesday. And I encourage everybody to show up for Monday's call when Sam's going to be going over some of the visual side of things, and it'll be a really nice prep for our first basics of blogging training that Andre and I will be doing on Wednesday. So thank you for everyone's feedback.
Thank you, Stephen.
Hey, Rod,
Yep.
Nancy asked to be unmuted, please.
I know, I just sent her an instant message. She's not called in with the audio code. She may be called in, but she hasn't entered her audio pin, so I can't unmute her until she does.
Okay, sorry, she pinged me.
Oh, no problem. Sorry, Nancy. Until you enter the audio pin, I'm afraid my hands are limited. My hands are tied. My hands are limited and tied.
That's a story for another day.
That's what she said.
Exactly.
Here I am. I can hear you guys.
There you go. You're in. You're in.
Ah.
Oh, now mute her. I love you, Nancy.
Yeah, whatever, Marcy.
I'll help you this weekend.
Come on, I got a case of beer.
How can we help you now, Nancy? It sounded like you had a concern you wanted to address to be unmuted.
No, it was a long time ago, and you guys already fixed it.
Oh, beautiful.
I had a question about daylight galleries. Is there a way to move my gallery within my post down so it's not the first thing you see in there?
Unfortunately, no. The way it's set up is the gallery is always going to be the first thing when it comes to daylight. That may change down the road, but as it stands now, we don't have any control over that.
Okay.
But that's
yeah,
good.
That's one thing we've definitely brought up to the sun.
Okay, thanks.
I agree.
Hey, Rob, it's Brian in Albany again. I got another question. I brought it up in Basecamp once, but I don't think everyone kind of got what I meant, so I thought maybe here I could try again.
Sure.
Okay, so if we go to share a link from one of our blog posts on Facebook, it gives you the option to choose a thumbnail. Unfortunately, it doesn't always grab the thumbnail that goes with the story, and nor anything that's usable. I try to add it. I noticed that our Contact Us widget, the Facebook and Twitter icon from there, always come up as a photo option in the thumbnail. So I tried adding the logo for each station there to see if maybe it would grab that by default, and I've had no luck because it really looks awful to have, the Google Map image, which I told our jocks not to leave there. Does anyone have a solution on a way to get Facebook to grab our logo, maybe?
That's a very good question. I have no idea on that front. Does anybody else?
That is one of my biggest pet peeves, Brian. In fact, I tried to share something that you put on your site, and I actually ended up not posting it because it didn't have a graphic to go with it.
Right.
We need to bring that up to Sun because sometimes there's a little bit of code in the background that needs to be fixed. And I mean, previously we've actually had to work with Facebook on that to fix something. Yeah, that's a huge issue because people sometimes won't share things if they don't get the graphics to go with it, and they have to click no thumbnail, which is really annoying. So totally hear that, and Andrea and I will really have fun with that one because it's a big one. Thanks, Brian, for bringing it up.
Yeah, no problem. I thought I could fix it with throwing the logo into the contact us, but no such luck.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with the featured photos, perhaps. They're for some reason being blocked, although I have had situations where it has worked. So we have to figure out why those ones work and then the other ones don't. So
yeah, it's random. There's times where my featured image comes up, and there's other times when I get the Price is Right losing horns.
I love that.
What else, guys? Who else has a Friday afternoon question / concern / complaint?
I have sent out, this is Nancy, and you can mute me after this. I sent out an email to the group yesterday about spurt, and someone, as I was looking around all of the websites, Casper sent me theirs, but they only have one local expert, so they're just clicking straight through to their microsite. But I saw one where they had like 7 local experts in there. Do you know whose site that is?
It might be one of the Buffalo sites. Let me check. So you're saying local experts like links to from the sidebar?
Yeah, it looks like, yeah, it's like it just links to a microsite page. They created a page in WordPress and made it a microsite.
Okay, these look like they're done. These ones on Buffalo look like they're taking you to a separate website. This is not part of the. This is not part of their site though.
Okay.
I don't know of one where they're linking to local expert content within the site unless it's one of you guys who's on the line here.
Ours is straight to a sticky fish window. Said it wrong.
Is that Marcy?
Yeah.
What'd you do with your VMix videos then if they shut VMix off?
We pulled down all of our video and we're posting them all back up on YouTube.
So you're going to move all your videos to YouTube?
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea anyway because YouTube is
Searchable, yeah.
so flexible. So yeah, if it gets found in Google, it's by far the resource that everybody goes to when they want to find video before anything else. And it just looks. I mean, people are comfortable with YouTube links. If they see a link to a YouTube video, they're going to click it. Whereas if we're on another site, they may be less than find it. So I'd say that's not a bad. I'd say that's not a bad idea at all. Is re-uploading those to YouTube.
Rob, Casper's site, their news site, I can't remember what the name of it is.
The Casper News site?
Yeah, it's like 92.5 or I can't remember.
I don't know. I'll have it on. I'll be able to find it here though. Give me a second. You guys keep on going here. But yeah, I know I have that.
Marcy, while he's looking for that, did you make a YouTube channel for just like market, or do you?
I did it for my home market because then I didn't have to have a million logins. But then my DPDs, or my PDs, they want one per station so that it would, they think it's more searchable. But I said if we put it in tags, it's just as searchable. So yeah. I kind of just said shove it all up in one place so I have lots of access to it.
Okay, thank you.
Nancy, was this the site you were talking about?
Yes, if you'll scroll down, you'll see local expert on the right rail. And then if you click on that image widget there that says local expert.
I don't even see a widget that says local expert.
Oh, it's a little Einstein-looking guy by a blackboard.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
See, he pasted his HTML code right into a page there, Marcy. So
oh, he did.
Yeah, it's not hosted on Sticky Fish. And I think that's what I'm going to do.
Why? Why wouldn't you just leave it Sticky Fish pulls it in nice. Why wouldn't you just leave it there?
Because I have to be a member to watch the video.
And you want members. You want an active database, right?
Absolutely, but you also want people to click through to your local experts, too, to get the traffic. So what I did was, as they play the video, as they watch the video, then I put click here to earn points, and then that takes them into Sticky Fish.
I like it.
This looks nice too, so I mean I don't think this is a bad idea what he did here.
Well, that's exactly what the microsite looks like in Sticky Fish. So he had just copied the HTML code from our worksheets.
Yeah, and it just keeps it local from the site here.
That's correct.
Cool.
Very good.
And his is on YouTube, isn't it?
Looks like it.
See those little boxes there? One says website and one says ask the expert.
Yeah.
You can also, there's one for enter audio code or enter video code. And that's where you take them back to your Sticky Fish site where they can earn points.
Gotcha.
Just a suggestion. You can mute me now if you want.
No, we like you unmuted. The more people unmuted, the better. If Andrea and April were called in, we'd have the whole crew unmuted here. So what else is on you guys' minds, if anything, about anything? Look, Michael, you're going to criticize me every That's my boss back there making that's what she said jokes and criticizing me. That's cool. What are you guys?
Hi.
Hi, guys.
So what can I do for you? I mean, it's Friday afternoon. If you're burnt out, that's perfectly understandable. But what concerns do you have while we're all on the line here?
I'll take one shaken, not stirred.
Yeah, I'm with you there, man. Absolutely, absolutely. Steven, do you have anything you wanted to add? I think that's. Otherwise, I think we're probably going to just cut this short in the next 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, just a super quick update, and we were talking about the Facebook issue with the thumbnails not coming up on Brian's site. I was actually looking. It looks like it's for the most part happening on video posts with no other photos in the post. So it looks like that the automated featured image being pulled is not being imported into the Facebook post. So, Brian, if you can find any other instances that are happening on your site, let me know. Otherwise, I'll let Sun know. It looks like it, for the most part, it's the video post.
Oh no, it's all of them.
Okay.
It's really random, and it depends on user too. Like I'll have a DJ that tries to put it on, and then they get it or they don't, and then vice versa. I try and I get it or I don't.
Okay, so we have a code issue, so I'll let Sun know. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Steven and Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Chris Kissel.
Thank you, Chris Kissel.
Well, folks, unless anybody wants to beg to differ, I think we're pretty much good to go here. Remember that Monday you should make a point of attending because it is going to be new material that is going to be of value to all of you. The recording will be up in Basecamp after the fact, of course, but nothing compares to the real experience. So please do call in. Get anybody else around who may be of value, who may take some value out of this. And then remember that Tuesday we're going to have that follow-up session for the use of the document, the use of the tip sheet, on which point you should probably get as many of your DJs in as possible who haven't attended one of these sessions yet as well. If we can beat our 80 attendance record of yesterday, everybody gets ice cream.
Really?
Yep.
Not necessarily true.
You have to find it and buy it yourself, but you can have it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We're permitting you to eat ice cream if you do this, essentially.
You know, this is kind of like when I flip a coin, I say heads I win, tails you lose.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Well, thanks, everybody. See you next. Have an excellent weekend, and watch for that next tip sheet coming out from Stephen and Andrea later on this afternoon, right, Stephen?
That's right. Later on today.
This afternoon / evening, some point today.
Hey, Rob? Rob?
Yes.
Nancy again.
Hello.
Is there help available on the weekends if I run into a problem?
Yep. Just shoot me an email, or you could call my cell phone. This weekend, probably Sunday would be better than Saturday, but if you have problems, just let me know, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
But I'm not going to call you. I'll just zap you an email.
Okay. Well, then I will reach out to you once I have a response. And
I'm sure you know that I know what I'm doing. I won't have any problems, but just in case.
No, yeah, we're always around on the weekends, and if you can't reach one of us, and you need something immediately, the other two, Chris or Didge, are around. So we're all, between the three of us, we cover the whole weekend for sure.
Hey, I thought of another question. Woo!
Yes.
All right, so I started, I think Sun created it just to have it there, but he didn't really add anything to it. I need to create a gravity form that you have to confirm you're 18 plus to check out our babes, because we've had a few, well, the feed comes from elsewhere, and let's just say you should be 18 plus. And I don't see in the gravity forms where I can make it be, if they're between this year and this year, they're okay. How do I, is there a way to do that?
That's a good question. That hasn't come up yet. Let me take a look. Let me get into the new form page and see. I'd suspect that there is a way to do it, but it may be kind of something you have to hack together.
Okay.
Let's see what we have.
Because you can do birth date, but I don't know if there's conditional things to add on it. I didn't have time to play with it yet, so I figured I'd ask.
Where did you even see birth date?
Under advanced fields, you can, the date one, you can kind of customize it to be birth date.
Oh, gotcha. All right, let's see if the advanced options of this one give us anything. Yeah, I'm not sure about this.
And it won't, and the conditional logic is grayed out in that advanced part, so I couldn't really, make it a drop down of years.
Right. Maybe the custom field would give us.
So I kind of think we should probably kill that part altogether. Nobody's going to get close to something. It seems like the day now.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you looked at the gravity form help at all?
Not yet. I was planning on that this afternoon. I thought I'd ask in case somebody else had a, experience with this.
What are you making the form for again?
We have, our rock station has 3 different Babes of the Day feeds, and one of them, they don't always have it G-rated or even, R-rated. Sometimes it's a little more, and I want to make sure we have a page that says 18 plus to proceed.
Oh, I see. So I'm thinking we have a Soldier of the Week thing that we do, and all I did was make this page up on our old Flex site that told you what this person gets to being Soldier of the Week. And I just, click here to send in your nomination, and it just opens up an email box. Well, some people don't know that they have to have their email browser open or that it needs to be connected to some kind of an email browser.
Right.
So that stops people from submitting. So couldn't you do the same thing here where they would just fill out the form and submit it?
Well, no, I just need them to say that they're 18.
No. I'm saying, but wouldn't that work in WordPress? That I could do something in WordPress as a form?
Oh, I get, basically I could do maybe a checkbox, check here if you're 18, click here if you're not, right?
I don't know. What does that put that back on you then, if they're not 18?
Well, I mean, any alcohol site or any site with adult stuff, I mean, it's the enter, leave, or by clicking you agree, which I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You might just weave some text in that says by clicking you agree. I mean, that seems like that would help you out, because from what I'm looking at here, it looks like we can require the date field, and we can have them, put them in a birth date and make them require it, but it doesn't look like there's any way to tell the system to not allow people if they're, before a certain birth date, at least that I can see by looking at both the advanced and the basic options of this.
Okay. I'll play around with some other options on that, but thank you guys.
Sure, and I'll look into it a little bit this afternoon too, and if I find anything other, I'll let you know too, Brian.
Cool. And if you want to play around with the form, it's q103albany.com.
Got it. Okay, cool. So you have a form in place there already that you're working off?
I wouldn't call it working off. I just kind of played around with it like you just did, so it's just kind of sitting there.
Got it. Okay, I'll take a look at that this afternoon as well and see if I can find anything.
Cool. Thank you.
Sure. Anything else come to mind for any of the rest of you guys while we're here? Cool. All right, everybody. Well, thank you as always, and have an excellent weekend.
You too, Rob. Good one, Rob.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bye.